Okay, here we are. We are live. So, hola, hola, hola. Buenas noches a todos. Y gracias por venir. Bienvenido a otro episodio de Hablamos Español. Y esta noche tenemos una invitada especial, una invitada dominicana. Se llama Jenniffer Whyte. Hola, Jenniffer.
Hola, ¿cómo están todos? ¿Cómo estás?
I'm doing all right. Estoy bien. Estoy aquí. Estoy vivo.
Sí, sí.
But if the case this is your first time watching an episode, and I want to say this too, I haven't done a live episode in a while, so it is always exciting to do a live episode. So if you're watching this, leave a comment, say where you are, say hola. As I'm talking to Jenniffer, feel free to comment. Hey, one viewer, ¿quién eres? Who are you? Leave your name. But as Jenniffer's talking, feel free to ask her a question in the moment. And when she and I are speaking Español, put in words that you think you know at least. So we definitely want to hear from you. That I enjoy the live ones. I don't get to do them a lot, but I do enjoy them for the interaction. So if this is your first time watching, we always start with una introducción en español. And this gives you, the viewer, an opportunity to test your Spanish. What do you know? What don't you know? And yeah, this gives you a good way to test it out. So at the end, we have the same introduction, but the guest gives it in English. So you can confirm whatever you think was right or confirm the things that were right. So, vamos a hacerlo. Entonces, Jenniffer, ¿de dónde eres?
Yo soy originalmente de Santo Domingo, la República Dominicana.
Oh, qué bueno, qué interesante. ¿Y tú trabajos? ¿Pero qué haces?
Yo hago tantas cosas, pero para no darle tanto para pensar, yo soy maestra de español en una escuela privada y también enseño clases por línea por otra compañía que se llama outschool.com. Y entonces también soy una instructora de Zumba y he sido instructora de Zumba por ya 12 años, así que eso es un trabajo que me encanta. También soy mamá de 5 niños y soy casada. Así que
Jenniffer, 5.
Sí, 5 niños. Tengo 3 que son biológicos y 2 adoptados.
¿Cómo tienes el tiempo a hacer algo aparte de ser mamá? ¿Con 5?
Hago tantas cosas. También mi esposo y yo somos pastores de una iglesia internacional en Alabama. Así que sí, antes de yo venir a esta entrevista estaba... tengo que
Estoy cansada de escuchar de tu vida. Mira, oh my God.
Yo no he terminado. También soy estudiante. Estoy estudiando para conseguir mi maestría.
Para.
Ya, no. Pues puedo seguir.
Pero eso significa que tú eres una mujer muy fuerte.
Tengo mucho sueño.
No tienes... Oh, sí, tienes sueño. Si no duermes mucho.
No debo dormir 12 horas y no la duermo 12 horas.
Y también eso significa que tú eres una mujer muy paciente, porque tener niños requiere paciencia. Guiar gente en la iglesia requiere paciencia.
Mucha paciencia, sí.
Yo solo tengo un niño y un esposo y un negocio y yo voy a morir.
Wow, después hablamos, yo te ayudo.
Gracias, pastor. Okay. Continuamos. Pues creo que la respuesta es nada, porque no tienes el tiempo, pero ¿cuáles son tus pasatiempos?
Bueno, sí tengo pasatiempos. Mi familia y yo nos encanta viajar, así que cuando hay oportunidades de viajar, como en el verano, estamos libres de estar en la escuela, entonces siempre nos vamos a otro país. Siempre hacemos misiones, así que misiones no es un pasatiempo, pero siempre apartamos un tiempo durante la misión donde podemos ir y pasear por el país y conocer personas y hacer cosas divertidas. Así que para mí el pasatiempo máximo es viajar, salirme de aquí, salirme de los Estados Unidos.
Sí, qué bueno. Y es algo beneficio para los niños.
Sí, los niños les gustan.
Hello to viewers, bienvenido. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment. Okay, pero algo más, algo aparte de viajar.
Deja ver, también me gusta hacer tantas cosas, me gusta enseñar mucho, así que yo enseño a otras personas cómo mejorarse en diferentes áreas. Es que si me siento yo decirte todo. Pero ahora mismo estamos preparándonos para celebrar un quinceañero para mi hija, que va a cumplir 15 años.
¡Felicidades!
Gracias. Entonces es en abril, pero parece como una boda, así que comenzamos ahora con los ensayos, conociendo a los padres, porque todas las personas quien ella escogió, nadie sabe qué es un quinceañero. Así que tengo que tener muchas reuniones. Mi iglesia los sábados nosotros pasamos comida, cajas de comida gratis a la comunidad. Nosotros acabamos de comprar una iglesia, un edificio, así que estamos construyendo, ayudando a mi esposo. Mi esposo es muy talentoso con sus manos, así que está construyendo y estamos ahí ayudando, siempre cocinando. Siempre haciendo ejercicio, todo eso, todo lo hago, pero sí es mucho, pero por eso es que cuando vamos a descansar, si vamos de vacaciones, muchas veces tratamos de irnos por 2 semanas, 3 semanas. El año pasado nos fuimos por un mes completo y no cuesta tanto, es una cosa que tú te vas a un país latinoamericano y si tienes un presupuesto muy bueno, tú puedes quedarte y no gastar tanto dinero, ir con tus amigos y te ayudan a pagar el alquiler de la casa o algo.
Sí, es la verdad. Sí,
así que me encanta, tengo tantas cosas que a mí me encanta la gente, así que me gusta pasarme tiempo con gente y hablar con la gente.
Eso es una experiencia real. Cuando yo viajo a otros países y en los Estados Unidos también, en otras ciudades, siempre quiero ser la parte de la ciudad que es real, que no es turística.
Sí,
porque una persona no puede tener una buena idea de las cosas normales. So, ¿sí?
¿Verdad? Tienes razón. Yo también.
Continuamos, and to you, the viewer, hang in there. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're catching something. We're almost done. We'll be speaking in English. All right. Tú has hablado ya de tu familia, 5 niños, un esposo. ¿Hay algo más? ¿Alguien más quieres incluir en tu familia?
Déjame ver, mis padres viven muy lejos de mí, viven en Miami, Florida, yo estoy en Alabama, así que no los veo tanto. Mi hermana vive en Nueva York, ella es actriz en Nueva York y sale en unos shows. A veces estoy viendo televisión y digo, ¡ay, mi hermana! O veo una película que se llama Jenny Saldaña y ella es fenomenal. Yo soy su...
¿Cómo se llama ella?
Jenny, Jenny y Saldaña, como mi apellido que lo tienes ahí.
Aquí está.
Sí, aquí está. Entonces Jenny Saldaña es una actriz en Nueva York.
¡Qué bueno!
Si cualquier persona quiere tomar un tour.
Estoy hablando con la hermana de alguien famosa.
Bueno.
I'm looking down. I'm working with my son and helping him, but sigue, perdón.
Sí, entonces, bueno, mi hermana, ella nació en Nueva York y yo nací en la República Dominicana, pero Nueva York para ella es su casa y no se quiere salir de ahí. Ella se lleva muy bien allí, así que me gusta ir a visitarla. No mucho la puedo visitar, pero cuando la voy a visitar, ella siempre nos da un tour de la ciudad y ella es un guía turístico. Entonces, si algún día ustedes quieren un tour de Nueva York, ella sabe de todos los lugares donde puedes comer, donde puedes viajar y me encanta esa ciudad eléctrica. Y ahí fue que yo comencé a aprender un poco de inglés en Nueva York, un poco, no mucho, porque yo fui a Nueva York y francamente nadie me hablaba inglés. Yo tuve que tratar de aprender. Y después que nos mudamos a Miami, estaba en una escuela que la mayoría eran cubanos. Entonces tampoco estaba aprendiendo, así que mi mamá dijo, te tengo que poner en una escuela americana. Y yo dije, pero estamos en los Estados Unidos, ¿qué escuela americana? Entonces lo que me pusieron en una escuela que la mayoría eran morenos americanos, así que mi primer inglés era Ebonics.
Wow.
No sabía cómo decir
otro tipo de inglés.
Así que yo decía, tú sabes, ahora la gente me dice, hey, where you stay? Y yo estoy como que, estoy aquí, hey, where your crib? Oh, no tengo cuna más, ya mi mamá regaló mi cuna. Pero eso era lo más chistoso porque no me di cuenta de que el primer inglés que yo aprendí fue Ebonics, fue el inglés que es como para los morenos americanos de la calle. Wow, qué bien, pero ahora me siento bien que sé hablar eso porque cuando me junto con los morenos americanos me siento en casa. Yo me siento como que soy parte de su familia y no me siento incómoda de ninguna manera. Así que yo también, otra cosa que te quería decir, también soy padre sustituta. Mi esposo y yo somos foster parents, padres sustitutos, y teníamos un niño que era problemático y se iba de la casa, se escapaba. Entonces, yo estaba embarazada y él se escapaba para el vecindario, pero era peligroso, pero la mayoría moreno-americano en ese vecindario. Y yo me aparecía ahí gritando con mi panza, ¿dónde está? ¿Dónde está? Y yo hablando el Ebonics, y ellos, oh, señora, él está ahí mismo. Como que no importaba. Yo entraba en ese vecindario como si yo era la dueña. ¿Dónde está mi chico? ¿Dónde está mi muchacho? Búscamelo. Y ellos, oh, señora, está por aquí. No sé si yo hubiera entrado como una señora con una cultura diferente, no sé cómo me hubiera tratado, no sé, pero yo como entré como si fuera uno de ellos me abrieron los brazos. Mira, él está escondido ahí, busca a tu hijo. Pero bueno, es una historia chistosa que no pensaba que iba a decir ahora, pero bueno.
Interesante. Mira, Kimoy Matthews, una invitada previa en esta serie, dice buena onda.
Buena onda.
Gracias. Gracias. Hola. Ojalá que todo esté bien contigo, ¿ok? Y ¿sigues estar en México, Kimoy? ¿Todo está bien en México? Ok, continuamos. The last part of the Spanish section, guys. Jenniffer, ¿tu canción favorita en español y cantante?
Ok, bueno, como yo enseño Zumba, tengo tantos, pero creo que mi canción favorita es La Gozadera por Gente de Zona, porque es una canción, si ven ese video de música, Gente de Zona con Mark Anthony.
¡Gente de Zona!
¡Ay, me encanta! Es que ellos son tan alegres. Yo viviendo en Alabama y escucho esa canción, especialmente que está llamando a todos los países latinoamericanos, yo me pongo tan feliz, siento que siento la comunidad latina conmigo aquí en Alabama, aunque son todos americanos que están bailando conmigo, pero como que me siento en casa, como que yo entiendo. Y como yo me crié entre Miami y Nueva York, ellos mencionan Miami y que están cocinando y todo. Entonces yo digo, ay, esa canción me encanta.
¿Cuál país es del grupo?
El grupo es de Cuba.
Okay.
Son cubanos, sí, son cubanos. Y ahí está Mark Anthony también, está mezclado ahí, él es puertorriqueño.
Sí.
Pero esa canción me encanta.
Creo que mi última invitada, Ambi, creo que, no recuerdo quién es, pero alguien recientemente me dijo su canción favorita es la misma.
¿Qué? La misma. Ay, me encanta esa canción. Me encanta esa canción. Yo la pongo en mi clase de español, la toco y ya los niños saben los movimientos.
Ok, ahora cantante latino favorito.
Cantante, me gusta Gente de Zona, pero también me gusta Don Omar. Él tiene esa canción Danza Kuduro. Y solo me gusta el tipo de música que él tiene. Me gusta el reggaetón. También me gusta Darien, que a veces hace algunos movimientos que no estoy de acuerdo porque soy muy conservativa, pero me encanta la música alegre.
Pero su música no dice conservativa.
No,
conservadora.
Alguna no, las cosas viejas como limbo. Ese me gusta el limbo, me gusta bailar limbo, me gusta cuando él canta dura. Y yo digo, ok, soy dura yo, tengo músculo. Okay. Mujeres con músculo. Porque, ay no, es que algunas de las canciones, verdad, si dicen muchas cosas que no son apropiadas para niños o jóvenes, no la toco. Pero sí, como la canción Con Calma, es una canción que él está hablando de mujeres meneándose y yo no lo veo como mal, porque yo siempre me estoy meneando en diferentes formas. Para acá, para allá, para arriba, para abajo. Así es que yo me estoy meneando para diferentes partes del mundo y de la ciudad y en mi carro. Así que a veces no lo veo así, pero me gusta bailar a esa música. Pero si es algo que no es bueno, no es positivo, como una canción que se llama Despacito, que él toca, que yo le digo a mis estudiantes, no me gusta esa canción. El beat, el ritmo es buenísimo, pero yo sé
las palabras.
Yo sé qué están haciendo. Entonces, lo que mis estudiantes hacen cuando yo soy ¿cómo se dice? Tengo que ir al prom en nuestra escuela. Y yo entro por la puerta, los niños para molestarme tocan el Despacito. Y yo lo miro así como, yo te voy a agarrar, ¿cómo va a hacer esa canción? No me gusta, aunque me gusta el ritmo, pero no me gusta el
sentido. Y la cosa es que tú eras la única persona en el cuarto
yo entiendo.
que sabías entendiste las palabras.
Sí, cuando yo vi el video de música, yo dije, uy, yo no puedo ver esto.
Mire, vamos a terminar. Okay, el fin. That's the end of the Spanish part, y'all. And thank you so much for hanging in there. Hopefully you caught something. I'm sure you did, because people know more Spanish than they realize and than they think. So wait to the end and let's see what you got. Okay? All right. Like I said, if I'm looking down, excuse me, working with my son to entertain him. All right, so let's continue. So I can skip a couple of these questions because they're about how did you learn Spanish? Well, obviously it's your native tongue. So let's go into your life story. And this is kind of giving away some of the introduction, but that's fine. Kamoy had a good point, and I don't know if she means, I think she means reggaeton in general. It says, la mayoría de las canciones tienen palabras inapropiadas.
It's true. Es muy real, es muy real. Por eso que tengo que estar escuchando y escuchando otra vez y escuchando otra vez, porque no quiero representar algo.
Especialmente hoy en día. Pero es igual en la música aquí de los Estados Unidos. La música moderna es peor. Pero la música de los 80s, 60s, 70s.
Me encanta esa música, esa es mi favorita. Oh my God.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she can more clarifying. She's saying reggaeton, hip hop, R&B, a todo.
Es verdad.
You're not lying. All right. So let's go with your life story, which we're kind of giving away some clues or from your introduction. So we're kind of giving the viewers some nuggets or hints. So you're Dominican. Mm-hmm. What made your family leave? How did you end up here from there? I guess you can give us the here to there story.
Oh, that's a good story.
If it's not too long.
I'm gonna try to go fast. Okay, no one's learning English. I could talk really fast, right? Okay, so I know because I always got that slow. Okay, so my parents. Okay, it's a long story. Let me see how I can shorten it. To shorten the long story, my dad got us a visa because he was a baseball player, volleyball player, and he played in Puerto Rico a lot. So he felt like we needed to move to the United States for a better life. And I'm gonna try not to cry because it's very sentimental. Even if my dad says I made such a good choice of moving.
You can cry if you need to cry.
No, my makeup is gonna go crazy. Okay, anyway.
You at home.
I swear I'm at home. Really, I don't care. Anyway, so that's what happened. The story was that my sister was born first. So my dad's plan was to get to New York and have the baby. My mom had to get there. So she had to enroll in a technical school because she only finished till she was in 8th grade, but she enrolled in a technical school. My dad ended up getting a ticket to go to New York because of his sports playing. He was a coach in Dominican Republic. So together, their plan was to have a baby in the U.S. because back in the day, in the 70s, if you have a baby, then the parents are automatically citizens. Yep, right away. So they had my sister Jenny, and then they went back. I was born 7 years later, but I was born in the Dominican Republic because when they came back, they had issues, and they had to leave. They had issues with legality and stuff, and I have to get all that information straight because I really want to be able to tell that story better. But they left, and then finally they said they had a law that they saw in the newspaper or something that said, hey, if you have a kid that's American, you could come back. So they went back to the U.S. and
it was like playing a game with their life.
It was, yeah.
Yes, no, come now. No.
Exactly. It was so weird. So they came back. I was born though, and I was born over there. And at 2 months old, I was able to swear in to become a citizen, even though I don't remember a thing. I was
couldn't even talk,
coughing, pooping. Who knows what I was doing? Lord help me. But anyway, I became a citizen at 2 months old because my sister was a citizen first, and that was the ticket here. So yeah, that's the story, which I'm grateful every day for my dad. I tell him, thank you so much for bringing us here, for all all the stuff he went through, you know, the discrimination, everything he went through in order, because he had it was rough, you know, paying lawyers and then they end up bad and stuff. Is like that story. A lot of people share that, having bad lawyers that take their money and then they don't become citizens. So, but anyway,
let me ask you this, because I hear that so much. People from Latino America coming here for a better life, and I've wondered, is it worth it? You know, I don't know if you or anybody watching has seen the old movie from the 80s, El Norte. And it's about a brother and sister pair from is it Guatemala, and they come here and they risk it all, and it really doesn't seem to be worth it in the end. But that's a lot of people's experiences. They come here, they risk it all, and not everybody comes and has a great experience. Some people say they regret it, and they're here and they just make it through, or some people even go back home every now and then. So my question to you, with your experience from the DR, what was so not bad, but what was so not great about being there? You say your dad wanted to send you here for a better life. What does life in the DR look like? Is there really no way to navigate into the circles of money? Like, you can marry into money? Like, just what? I guess why it seems so impossible to make it there. I hope my question makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I would have to make really good choices with who I would have married, because if I would have just married, you know, just a person that stayed right here, you know, I don't think I would have ever made it further. Like, I married somebody who wants to be, you know, was the best concert pianist, you know, a genius, has ideas, pushes me to do things. You know, the Dominican, not speaking bad about Dominicans, but like, when you're a Dominican woman, you have to stay in your place, kind of like, at least when I was.
You feel like that today?
I kind of had to stay. Yeah, it's kind of like that in some way. I don't know how it is now, because I'm not married to a Dominican, but I know that I kind of have to probably stay in my place. And maybe if I kind of get more attention than my husband, could he handle that? That, like, my husband, he's a pastor, he's a bishop, so he gets a lot of attention. But then there's times where they call him Jennifer's husband, and it's like, or the Zumba lady's husband, and he has to be like, yeah, that's true, you know, yeah, you know, I'm here, you know. But I don't know, with a Latino that is macho would feel like, which my husband's macho too, but he's not. He supports me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the difference. Is that the macho that's secure of himself and his wife, it's a different macho than a macho that's like just insecure about himself.
That's evil.
Exactly. So I think if I would have married the wrong guy, I would have just not been where I'm at today. You're right. The money issue, that wouldn't be it. I have to leave. Also, I'll just be a Dominican like everybody else. Here in the U.S. is like, especially in Alabama, I'm a Dominican, and not many people know what a Dominican is.
Yeah.
I tend to stand out.
Like a walking wealth of education and knowledge.
Even if in the Afro-Latino movement that's going on, where I get to talk to teachers and stuff, I stick out because I'm a Afro-Latina Dominican in Alabama. If I was in Chicago or New York, I would blend in with everybody else because there's so many of them there. But when they see me, they're like, oh my gosh, you got to deal with things that we don't deal with, or you have experiences that we don't. And that's what makes me stick out a little more. So where I'm geographically located is a very important place. So I don't think that I would be this far if I was in the Dominican Republic.
So let me, and I'm just trying, I know I can only get so much in you know, an interview this short, but so let's say I mentioned marrying money. Let's scratch that. Let's say it's a woman in the DR, just from your experience, because keep in mind, you talk your truth and your experience, you know, whether it sounds great or not, you know what you have experienced and know. Exactly. A woman growing up in the DR, she's 23, no children, no husband. How can she navigate? What jobs can she get? Like, where is a woman's place for her? Like, is she able to, you know, run a business, or, you know, how does that look?
Well, she would have to get a education, which over there in DR, education is great. Everybody's educated. They speak with big words. They have a great literacy percentage in the Dominican Republic, so 90% literate. They're all about education. But from my experience, even my own family, is like, I see them growing and getting past, but I don't see them growing as fast as I can. A woman who will get her education can only go to a certain point. I don't know what holds them back. I really don't know what it is, because I don't know the politics of there. But I know that here, everything's kind of equal. Not equal, I'm not going to say it's equal.
Not where it should be, but it's better than a lot of other countries.
I work extra hard. If I can stand out if I can get in my education, like I'm working on my master's right now, so I'm going to get a little bit more than what I did before. I don't know if in the Dominican Republic I can get a little bit more, if I can get a bigger raise than I would in the Dominican Republic. So bigger raise for me means, you know, a lot of things. Could do more things. I could travel more. In the DR, I'm not sure if I know a lot of doctorate people in the Dominican Republic. And yeah, I see some people with some nice houses and stuff. And some of them are engineers and architects and stuff like they already have to be in a life of money. I feel like you're born poor. It's hard to come out of that. Here in the US, you're born poor and you are still rich. You're still rich. You got all this support. You got help from the government if you want it. There's grants out there. If you just know accessibility, if you have resources out there that we can get. But in the Dominican Republic, I'm not sure if the government helps people as much where you can grow. Who's the minority there? Are the minority in the Dominican Republic, like the Haitians, are they are they able to come above what they are? Or it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that we could talk about all day long about that. But seriously, if I was maybe a Dominican woman and that's 23 single in the Dominican Republic, I don't think I would. I think I'll still be in the same spot, probably educated, maybe with a house, a piece of land, but I'm not sure how far I could go.
I got you. Well, thank you for that tidbit of knowledge. And I know that topic for any culture is deep and long, but I just wanted to understand a little better. So thank you. Gracias.
No problem.
All right. So you gave us your from here to there story. So you're in New York now. Okay. So how did you go from New York to Miami?
Oh, okay.
And then how did you go from Miami to Alabama? There we go.
Oh my God. Okay, so New York to Miami was New York was really cold. I am so cold natured. I'm just truly an island girl from the tropical hemisphere because I get cold for anything. I got really sick. My sister got sick too. So they said, okay, an opportunity to go to Miami. It's warmer. They speak Spanish there. It was always like where the Latinos at. So we moved to Miami, you know, we knew friends there, a bunch of Dominicans, went to a church that was predominantly Dominican. So my dad has contacts with a bunch of people and I went to school there. So graduated from there, did well. I mean, I did the best. Like among Latinos, I made it a point to stick out. I felt inside of me that I had to be the best that I can for my mom and dad. So even though I had insecurities and stuff, I had good teachers that pushed me. I have one particular teacher. She's actually white, the only white person I knew in Miami. But she pushed me. She saw a talent in me and she said, hey, you could be a speaker. And I'm like, I am shy. There's no way I can be a speaker. She put me in competitions where I won and I became a state officer of an organization. I traveled to Florida and spoke to teenagers, but I'm still up to now shy. I don't seem shy because I feel like I have a responsibility to do something and I do. But you don't see that I have sweat coming down my arms and my legs are shaking right now. You know, you don't see that part, but I feel like as a responsibility to do that. So when
excuse me, I'm going to do a little pause here to read Kamoy's comments. And Kamoy, thank you for sticking with us. Dos comentos. Me siento mejor que ella es dominicana. Pensaba que su acento del Caribe es perfecto.
Gracias. I thought I lost it.
Dos, eso es un buen punto. Pienso que inmigrantes conocen los recursos más de la gente de los Estados Unidos. Y estoy de acuerdo porque es común aquí que, como tú has dicho, una persona pobre aquí es rico debido a los recursos, pero es común que los pobres aquí dicen no son ricos porque ellos no dan cuenta de lo que hay. Y hay otras razones, también ellos se enfrentan opresión y cosas como así, pero hay recursos, hay oportunidades, pero supongo generalmente es más difícil verlos cuando estás en la situación. Es más fácil verlos como un inmigrante, verlo de una distancia.
Sí, tienes razón. Es por eso, porque si estoy aquí, digo, quiero todo lo que los americanos tienen, yo lo quiero. Si tengo el derecho, soy residente, soy ciudadana, entonces quiero agarrar todo. En realidad, sí, los americanos no ven eso, no buscan, no hacen sus estudios para buscar, y yo siempre he estado buscando, siempre estoy buscando becas para la universidad, siempre estoy buscando recursos, hasta en Facebook, metiéndome en grupos que me van a enseñar a mí qué amigos son mejores que yo, no amigos menos que yo, pero amigos que son mejores que yo pueda mirar arriba hacia ellos y aprender. Siempre tenemos que aprender, no pensar que sabemos todo.
Ok, continuamos con su cuento. Entonces estás en Miami con la profesora Blanca, bla, bla, bla.
Entonces, a los 14 años tuve mi primer novio. Bueno, no, el tercer novio, bueno, tengo el novio. Entonces, nos quedamos novios por 4 años, así que mi esposo ahora era mi novio a los 14 años. Y entonces ya a los 18 años yo me casé. Y yo sé que mucha gente no creen en eso, creen que eso es muy joven, pero y vinieron muchos problemas, pero gracias a Dios salió mi madurez y pude salir con 5 niños y estoy bien. Pero
entonces, él te conoció en Miami.
Sí, en Miami. Él
es dominicano también.
Él es panameño, un afro-panameño. Sí, afro-panameño.
Qué interesante.
Súper inteligente. Entonces, él me ayudaba. Él tiene 7 años mayor que yo. Así que para mucha gente decían, eso es muchos años, no se deben casar.
Cuando son jóvenes, sí. Cuando son jóvenes, sí. Pero como adultos, ¿no?
Como adultos no se ve. Pero yo sentía que yo no era inmadura para no estar con él. Yo no me sentía inmadura, aunque él y fue a las Fuerzas Armadas y todo, y yo tenía 14 años, y él hizo Desert Storm y todo, y yo tengo 14 años. Pero, no sé, no me sentí como que era yo chiquita o muy joven para ejercer y conseguir un novio. Así que a los 18 me casé, todo salió bien, a los 19 tengo bebé, mi primer bebé, después del primero nos mudamos a Atlanta porque vimos Miami, hay muchos latinos y no hay trabajo. Necesitamos ir a un lugar donde podemos...
¿No hay trabajo? ¿Por qué?
No había, en ese tiempo no había trabajo porque él trabajaba por Sony Music y él era ministro de música en diferentes iglesias, era un genio de piano, así que no encontraba trabajo que le paga, que no podía sostener. Así que nos mudamos a Atlanta porque en Atlanta, si tú eres bilingüe, eres como un superhéroe. ¡Yay, bilingüe! Te pagan más en Atlanta. En Miami no, es lo mismo. Son tantos que no importa.
Mira, estamos hablando en español.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're supposed to be speaking English. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys. Girl. It felt so natural.
At least I didn't speak English, y'all. Help me. I'm sorry. Anyway, so I'm telling my story about moving to Miami. I moved to Miami, then I moved to in Miami. I got married. I had my first child. During my first child, I went ahead and moved to Atlanta because we couldn't get a job that paid enough money for both of us to sustain ourselves and our child. So in Atlanta, there's a lot of opportunities for bilinguals because there's so many Americans there that speak English. Then they're like, oh, bilingual. So I got a job at a call center and everything, whatever. Anyway, making this long story short, we ended up in Alabama because my husband was stationed in the military in Alabama. So that's where he went. And he's like, maybe we should give it a shot. I hated it at first because everyone spoke differently than me. I still have an accent. People look at me crazy. They don't know if I'm black, if I'm white, if I'm mixed, if I'm Indian, Cherokee. They call me all kinds of stuff. They don't understand my accent. When people see me, they see black. So I'm good. When black people see me, it's fine. But when I open my mouth, it's like, what are you? Who is you?
That sound about right. That's back to your New York bonnet.
Back to your New York
Anyway, so Kia says, "Hey, Jenniffer."
Kia, how are you? I love Kia. That's my friend. She's my girlfriend.
Okay, so we could talk about that because a lot of the questions in here, like I said, are about people like learning Spanish, but it's just that's what you're from. You grew up with it.
Yeah.
So let's go to that. What you just said. Let's talk about. This is a really good point because it is common, just from what I've heard and read, that when a Latino Americano comes here, they're gonna go to the big city because it's a lot of their folks there already.
Yeah.
Nueva York, etc. Right? So you didn't do that. You've done what a lot don't do. Go to not just a place that's not familiar with your folks. It's the South, and then it's like Alabama, which is one of the top areas for racism. Supposedly, it's racism everywhere. But people like to say Alabama is so racist, and I'm sure it is. Just it's everywhere. But anyway, so how do you think? Well, you know, because you've been comparing it to Miami, comparing it to New York. How different has the experience been? You already hit on it a little bit, but maybe if you can give maybe a couple stories.
Okay.
Is it better when a black person sees you than a white person sees you? Or you're going to get the same reaction either way? Let's talk about that.
It's different. The racism is definitely different. I will tell you this, that when I go back to Miami now, being here in Alabama, I get a lot of colorism. Like as a pastor's wife, I've had people, tell me, hey, here's $90. Let's take you to the beauty salon and straighten your hair because you got to look good for,
In Alabama or in Miami?
It's in Miami. Like coming from Alabama, going to Miami, I get the colorism. I get that same Latinos telling me, yo, let's straighten your hair because
like your own folks.
You can't go. Yeah, you can't be going with puffballs over there to church meeting. And it's like, no.
Just because it's the big city? Is that why?
It's a big city, yeah. But, it's Miami's a really big city. But the Latinos, it's like, I didn't know. I grew up there, but I didn't see racism there. I didn't see colorism until came to Alabama, experienced some things, then went back and said, oh my God, you don't like my hair? My daughters have beautiful curly hair, and I encourage them to wear puffy. Like, yeah, wear the hair puffy. If you do straight hair, do it once a year, whatever. Don't mess up that hair. Don't put that heat in the hair, mess up the hair. It's like we've learned better to take care of our hair and everything. But that was one shift. In Alabama, what I deal with, what my husband and I deal with is the systematic racism. It's the racism that they don't know they're doing it. They're not sure. They don't really know that they're doing it. So with my husband, they do, he's darker skin. So when they see him, they see black. And when he says, Panameño, then we get that the Black Americans will look at him like, oh, you think you're better than us.
They don't even know what Panameño is.
They don't. And that's the thing. We get the racism then from the Black people saying, well, you think you're better. What is that? What do you mean Afro-Latino? No, what are you? You're not Black. And it's like, oh, we're Black. Hello. No, you're not Black. And it's like
you don't fit anywhere.
Exactly. And it's so in Alabama, we're confident. We embrace anybody who doesn't fit. The mixed people, Black and white, anybody who feels that they don't fit. Even white folks don't fit in some places because they're not at the level of Black people. So our church is like mixed with whoever wants to be there that feels like they don't feel like there's a majority. And that's the thing. It's very segregated. The white church, a Black church. And then if you go to the Black church, the culture is so different. And then it feels like people can't adapt to yours. You go to the white church and it's like the culture is so different. And it's like, okay, they'll receive you. Like white people will tell me, oh, I like your hair. It's so full and has so much body. Because they're straight and they can't get it like that. I could get this hair to be straight, curly, natural, whatever. I could change it into different hairstyles and not pay a bunch of money. But for them, it's like they have to do a lot of things to change up their hair. So I've gotten more love from white people and Black people in the South about my hair than going back to Miami where I grew up about my hair. But then there's other issues. We got the Blacks who would say you're not Black. Then we have the whites who would say, well, who don't say anything. Stay quiet. Stay quiet.
Let's talk about because this is good culture shock stuff. This is great culture shock stuff. Let's talk about the culture shock in food. What foods we like when you went to Alabama, you were like, this is strange or this is great or whatever, or hey, where it donde está el whatever. I can't find this one.
Goya
it's everywhere where I'm in Miami, but I can't find it here. So just your experience with la comida.
That was tough. The food was hard because Goya wasn't here when I first got here, and now it's here, and it's the only
brand.
That's why when they were boycotting Goya, I was like, no, please don't take my life away. I'm sorry, y'all. I did not boycott Goya because I couldn't. Okay,
let's do that up in case somebody's watching and you don't get it. Goya is a brand, just like whatever, great value, whatever,
Yeah, it's good. So I was making the Hispanic food and everything, and it was cool. People around me will eat, but I have an experience where I was going to a Black church, and I made some beans. At first, the people were like, no, don't cook because you don't know how to cook. And I'm like, ma'am, I do know how to cook. And these are older women, and bless their heart, I love them.
I know they didn't work out.
They don't know. So they're like, oh, don't cook, just bring iced tea. And I'm like, okay, iced tea. So then I'm like, I want to cook. I really want to cook. So one day they didn't let me cook, but one day they were in my house, stuck in my house. My husband was doing a Bible study, just talking, just occasionally. And then it turned into a Bible study. He started talking. And then I said, ooh, it's time to eat. And, you know, Latinos, when it's time to eat, we got to get in that kitchen, start cooking. And then we share our food. We don't mind. But I was a little hesitant that these people did not like my food. Anyway, don't worry. I went ahead and make black beans and rice, some chicken, and I made morir soñando, which is like a Dominican drink that's called daydreaming, and it's mixed with milk and ice cream and orange juice. It's like a dreamsicle. So good. So good. I gotta hear that recipe.
That sounds good. That's cute.
So anyway, they were hungry, but they were listening to my husband because he's a good speaker. So I started passing out plates, and they started eating without looking at the food. And then they were like, ooh, this is good. And then one guy said, oh, you burned the beans because it was black beans. God.
Jenniffer, he ain't never seen black beans in his life.
I don't know what happened to that dude. I don't know. You burned the beans? I'm like, no, there's such thing as black beans. And I'm a teacher, so I don't like, yo, what's wrong with you? I didn't do that. I said, no, there's such thing as black beans. And they sell them right there at Walmart sometimes, you know, and even in Piggly Wiggly, and, you know, and I'll tell them, but they received it. Then when I gave them the morir soñando, one person was like, I don't drink that. I don't drink orange juice mixed with milk. I don't do that.
Because you never had it. Stop.
So they didn't drink it at all. Everybody else was like, oh my gosh, it's so good. You need to cook for the church. You need to cook more, whatever. But anyway, I didn't get an opportunity to cook a lot at the church, but now I do. My church, we eat every Sunday after church, like literally every Sunday. Even in COVID, we're outside eating, like cooking fresh food outside, like the smell. And then we have Mexican food, Caribbean food. So that
Kamoy has a comment about the Goya boycott. No quita Goya. I couldn't boycott either. I'm from the Caribbean. We use sazon regularly.
Girl, Kamoy, thank you for saying that because I thought I was gonna get like bullets at me. I was like, no Goya, Lord. Like, look, for me to get plantains, we drive 2 hours to Atlanta to get the whole box that costs $22. Because if I get it at Walmart, they're like 49 cents each. And you know, in Miami, they're
that sounds cheap to me. That's not cheap.
No, 49 cents each is very expensive because in Miami, we get them for $1.
25 cents. So that's like double.
You get a huge box with plátanos for $22. It's like you get more. It's like you get a lot more. So we have to drive far to get what we want. We have to make our own natural.
How long does that box last the family? A month, a week?
Oh, girl, it lasts. Let me see. With me sharing with my family, my church family, it will last less than a month. And we buy 100 pounds of rice too, and that's like a month.
Is it a special rice? Why can't you just get rice?
Not anymore. We gotta not be picky. Whatever's there, we're like whatever. We're just Caribbean. We gotta have rice. I even find myself eating jasmine rice like the Jamaicans and the Haitians. I'm like, I don't care as long as it's rice and it's white and I could put beans on it, or I could mix it with my chicken and make it red, make it yellow. I said, locrio. Whatever, I don't matter. I'm not that picky anymore, but you know, with the food now, the Alabamian food is good. You know, it's American food, so I love it.
Excuse me, and I hope you don't get offended when I'm interrupting. It's just don't I want to cover. And can you believe we only have like 17 minutes? This went so
no.
Yes.
No, I'm good.
What are some of your favorite Southern dishes that you had once you got to Alabama? What were you like, this is good that you all eat?
It was probably be stuff that I already ate in Miami, like the soul food in Miami. So funny. The soul food in Miami is different than the soul food here. Like in Miami, there's pigeon peas and rice as the soul food. We come over here, pigeon peas and rice is not a soul food.
That's something that Caribbean or Jamaicans eat, ain't it?
Exactly. So that's why it's the influence. That's so cool how you see the influence of the food. Well, in Alabama, then I still like the collard greens. I started eating grits, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. If someone prepares it well in the restaurant, I would love it. But that's something I used to look at, like, what is that? No es avena. Eso no es avena. Anyway, that's not meal. What is that? so grainy. But anyway, I like the grits. Not something I eat all the time, and I don't prepare it well yet, but something that I like here, and always the macaroni and cheese here is always yummy.
Grits, collards.
Yeah, okay. Collard. There's a lot of catfish restaurants like that, Alabamian kind of thing. Southern catfish. I love catfish.
Okay.
Yeah, anything that I used to eat before. The only difference was the grits that was different. But no culture shock.
So you already had experience eating it because you ate it in Miami.
That's right. The only culture shock is going places and not seeing plátano, like fritos. Like right now, the nearest Chinese restaurant, they put some plátanos maduros in there, and I nearly flipped. Because all these years, nobody's ever seen that. They don't know what a plátano is. I could do a whole webinar on plátano.
But they did it for you. They did it for you. They knew you were a
customer there. So I'm like,
they did it for you. They did it for you.
I think they did because they know I eat the whole thing. I'm like, just slap it on my plate. Oh, here she comes. Come on. You better make twice as much.
Since you we talked about it, you and your husband had a hard time finding community because the blacks act one way, the whites act another way. How did you all find your community? Is it through your church? Just how did you start making those connections? Do you remember the first people that befriended you in a genuine way? Just how did that work? How'd that go? Finding community.
It took a long time. It took a long time because, like you said, it's like the two cultures. And then my mentality was stuck. I thought white people were bad because I never knew a lot of white people. So to me, white people were bad. And then black people to me were lovely because I know them. But then these black people were different.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, where do we fit? Even in our church, is like for you to be in our church, you got to have like an international mindset. You got to have a willingness to not sit with a group of black people if you're black, or not sit with a group of white people if you're white. So I finally found the people that we hang with, and yeah, they're black, white, mixed people, Mexican as well. I have a core group of people, friends that's their mix, is like black, white, Mexican, and each of them is okay with each other. It's hard.
How did you find this group in the beginning? Like you just grocery store visit? Okay, so you
church. I was a Zumba instructor. I am a Zumba instructor, so I became very popular in my area because I was the only Latina Zumba instructor. So I would always put myself out there. I would do Zumba in every event, and then when
you were bringing el sabor real,
and then people invited me to schools. Like schools were saying, Zumba ladies coming if you meet your reading goal, and they're like, yay, Zumba ladies. So I'm like, yay.
I've never heard that.
So I have kids that I taught at second grade that now they're married with kids that they're like, you came to my school when I was in second grade. And I'm like, really? And I still have the same energy. Thank God, eating beets, drinking beets juice all the time. Anyway, so it's like I met people throughout the way. So a lot of people know me in my community for different things, the Zumba thing. And so now it's like, okay, through Zumba, I was doing Zumba at the mall. And that's how I met pretty much the core people I know, because they saw me dancing at the mall. And even though some people didn't like me at the mall dancing, they treated me a little bad. And that was another story. But some people were like, oh, we want to connect with you and everything. And we got connected. And I met them through Zumba. It's amazing how the closest people to me, I met them through Zumba.
That's so kind. And I guess that makes sense because I wouldn't say you have to, but I would imagine even going to Zumba, you're okay with being outside your comfort zone because all the music is stuff you don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm listening to, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first time I heard reggaeton or merengue in Alabama was in a Zumba class, and I cried. I just cried. And then I didn't know I could dance. So I was dancing and I was moving. The teacher was like, you have a gift. You have the rhythm. I'm like, no, I don't dance. I didn't grow up dancing. So I don't know what you're talking about. Then I look at you in the mirror, and it was one of those one of those gyms you can see yourself in the mirror. And I didn't like looking at myself and stuff. And I started looking at myself, and I'm like, oh, wow, I can do the merengue really good. So,
está en tu sangre, claro.
And when we adopted our two autistic kids, I went through a really low moment because the kids we adopted are autistic. Yeah. So I went through a really low time. I opened the daycare center, loved my daycare, 24-hour daycare. That's another thing I did. And then I had my those two kids, but my outlet was Zumba. If it wasn't for Zumba, God knows, God too. But I mean, that outlet was awesome to be able to get out and then the kids gave me so much a hard time that if I did a Zumba show, one time I did a Zumba show with 700 people came. Like I invited a famous guy from outside of the country, un colombiano. I invited a guy from Belgium, and I had like 400, 700. So that's how I became really popular, because I was hosting these big.
Oh yeah, that was like a convention center, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a convention, and people would pay $20 for class, and I would host them. And what we would do is that my kids will be the introduction. They'll do a Zumba dance, and they're up there.
That's so cute.
And they got their exposure. So I said, you know what, my kids, my autistic kids, they need that attention, because I'm having issues with them. I'm having a hard time. I'm having low moments with them. I can't seem to get them to behave. I can't seem to get them to understand me. They don't speak the same language, it seems, but through Zumba, that's how it is.
The language. That was the common language.
Yeah, exactly.
Como says, jugo de betabel es el secreto. Okay.
Betabel, I never heard of that.
Beet.
Oh, darn. Oh, we call it remolacha. We call it in Santo Domingo, we call it remolacha.
I think I have heard of it.
Yeah, Kimoy, you need to hook up with me so I can give you my recipe, because yes. Oh, that beet.
Do you make it, or you just go to the store and get it?
I make it myself, but
that's nice, because I see the stuff in the store. It looks pretty natural, but yeah, homemade is always good.
Make it, and then I put stuff in it, like if I put the chia seeds, or I put a bunch of vitamin C's in there. You know, you can't overdose on vitamin C, so I put like 10 in there. Shake it up in the thing, and shake it up real good. Put orange juice, beet, yogurt. I put all this stuff. So
I'm about the yogurt now, Jenniffer.
I put whatever make it taste good. I need to drink it.
It's working. Let me leave you alone.
It's working. I'm not putting sugar.
Let's go ahead and end with this. Okay. Your children's experience. So, we talked about your here to their story. We've talked about different cultures in each location. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your children's experiences, and then what do they speak at home? How have they found community? How is their experience at school? Let's talk about that.
Ooh, my kids is another thing. I could write a book about them. But to make the long story short, first of all, my oldest son Elijah, he's very light skinned, but he has the hair, Afrocentric hair. So when he was in school, he didn't understand. They said, oh, Elijah Whyte. And he's like, I'm not Elijah Whyte. I'm yellow. I'm Elijah Yellow. And we're like, oh, baby, you black boy. Even if you yellow, you black. We had to tell him. We taught him.
They were calling his last name.
What?
Oh, it's like his last name.
My last name is White. My last
name
is
like saying he is white.
My name is, why my name White? I'm not white. I'm yellow. So it's so cute. But people made fun of him because he wasn't Mexican, and he wasn't black, and he wasn't white. So his experience was bad. He got bullied and everything, and we had to pull him out, homeschool him, because
it was too much.
His identity was not there. It's like he couldn't connect, and it was like, you're not black, you're not white.
They wouldn't let him connect. That's the thing. Too, like, people talk about the person that the outcast of a group, in racial, regional, international, whatever the issue is. They talk about the outcast sometimes as though the outcast is having a problem. Well, so-and-so just doesn't seem to get along well. No, they don't get along well with so-and-so. When the community doesn't let you in, of course you're going to have problems, but you're not the problem. But keep going.
Exactly. So with him, it was more like, okay, we had to teach him. We're like, Elijah, you're Dominican, Panamanian, you're mixed with, you're not mixed, you're Latino. You're not mixed, you're Latino, just with two different countries, and that was hard for people to understand, because in here where we're at, it's Mexican. Everything's Mexican. Everything's Mexican. So they're like, there's no Mexican that look like that, which they are, but they don't know that. They didn't know that. So it was weird. So that was Elijah. Then I have my girls. Ariel has that hair and everything. And then the black people will tell her, ooh, she got bad weave on. And it's like, that's her hair.
And I'm sure the people that said the word bald headed, but that's another conversation.
I don't know. She was working at Chick-fil-A. Yeah, she was working at Chick-fil-A, and someone said, "Yeah, the girl with the bad weave," and we're like, "Oh my lord!"
And that person was bald, but that's okay. Next.
Yeah, that's right. And then there's little Lizzie. She's like your complexion, Tasha, and her hair is like more Africanized than mine.
About a 3C, 4C.
So hers. So she's a little different. She found confidence in who she is, because we've always told her from little, hey, you're beautiful, and I love your hair. It's awesome. You could put it any style you want. That's how we pump up kids. That's how we pump up Black kids. You can put your hair however you want. Like other people can't. So like, hey, but she's like the only one in her school that's of color that I can remember. I'm trying to think, making sure it's not, but she's the only person of color, of African descent color of her in her grade. So she's had the questions, you know, to ask to her like, hey, can we say the N-word, or can we say the N-word? Give us permission to say the N-word. Or
and you said she in what grade? Third?
She's in ninth now. She's in ninth grade.
Oh, but still.
So she's had people around her, being the only one, she's had people around her that ask her, hey, give us permission to say it, you know, because they want to be bad, you know, they want to. And
but that's the problem. Like, you can't command me to give you permission. You should respect my no if it's a no.
Exactly.
You really not even want my permission because you're demanding it from me.
Exactly. Oh, I know.
I can make it. Let me quiet.
I know. It's like that. But with her, we've always instilled confidence. My husband and I, we're very confident in who we are. We love our culture. We love being Black. We love saying we're Black. We don't care. We do get negative connotations from saying that, but since we are happy with who we are, I feel like my kids are happy with who they are.
That's great.
The ones I adopted, they're my husband's fourth cousins. So they're mixed with white, Panamanian, and Dominican. So they look so light-skinned, they could pass off as white in some areas. In some areas, they'll say, oh, he has a tint of mixed. He's mixed. But we've taught them, hey, if you're around whites, then use it. Use that privilege. But help the others. Help the other ones, you know, the others that need help, the other Black kids that are not like you, that to help them. Like we've always said, if you're in a position of privilege, help others. Don't stay there and, you know, just be obnoxious about it, you know? So but we taught them because they're mixed. But I feel like my kids are pretty well-rounded, stable. As far as the language, I did bad. I did bad because when I came to Alabama, they told me, oh, your kid don't speak English. So I had to speak to them in English, and then we lost it. We lost the Spanish.
So your children,
so my kids understand Spanish, and they speak it, but they don't speak it in a way where they can have conversations. They have to pause a lot. They have to pause a lot and be like, ¿cómo se dice? And then it's like, it's a letdown to my parents because they're like, ay, la lengua materna is you,
That's it. That's look. I mean, I don't know if you can tell your parents, you know, how you can say it, but that's every generation. That's like, you know, a statistic that's in the books. By that third generation, it's a no.
But it's funny because I teach Spanish, and my youngest daughter, who's having her quinceañera, she's in my class. She's in my Spanish 1 class. And it's good to have her there because it's like a different view of her. It's like, mama, we call mom, we say mama as a term of endearment. So we say, hey, mama, you're good at this. You're good at conjugation. You're good at, your accent is good. But it's because we shipped her to Miami for a month with her sister to be with my parents. So they were stuck in, they said, Mom, my head hurts. I got to translate in my head. I got to stop. And I said, you got to keep doing that until you are able to pass that hurting of your brain that I'm thinking too much. I just don't want to think no more. And that's something I experienced it. But since I was, you know, what are they called? Immersed. Since I was immersed in the culture of English, I was able to learn quick. And I don't remember having my head hurting from translating.
Yeah.
But them with their grandparents, they're like, tita, I need, like my daughter Ariel, she said she needed a recipe for how to make cheese. And my dad is like, no, maybe you should call tita and get the recipe. I said, no, Dad, Ariel wants to call tita because tita repeats everything 500 times in Spanish, even though she speaks fast. She wants to talk to her grandmother. And my daughter, being that she's almost going to turn 20, she has that connection where, okay, I'm connected to this. So I got to learn Spanish. And now she wants to be a Spanish teacher. So she's going to start a YouTube channel. She started a YouTube channel called Sirena Morena. And she's going to have really funny videos about the struggle is real of her being Hispanic, learning Spanish. That's going to be hilarious. So
that's a unique concept. You know, it's a program right now for people, but they of Mexican descent who don't speak Spanish well. So that maybe there's a program for other cultures, but
yeah, that's true. So that's what she's trying to do because she's trying to reach out to all those Latinos out there that don't speak Spanish. Yeah, it's so fun. But yeah, I think my kids are really good kids. I'm glad. I've had struggles with, you know, with the adoption process, with having autism in the family and stuff. That's always, any family that has autism in the family, it's
that's why they were put up for adoption, because somebody else couldn't deal with it.
That's true. That's true. So we're proud. We're proud of what we're doing. My husband and I, we want to write a book because my 2 sons that are autistic, we don't give them medicine. A long time ago when they were little, so we sent them to school and didn't tell the teacher. Gosh, who's gonna listen to this?
Why would you do the teacher like that? You set them up for failure. What?
Well, I just had to get a lot of calls. Even up to now, I get some calls. Even up to now. But it's okay. We try to just discipline a lot and in a routine, teach them a routine, teach them what's expected, what's their expectations. Even though some things are not caught on, they just still the same as 5 years old, 2 years old. But we still working hard, working hard, hanging in there. But yeah,
I'm so late on branding this, but there you go, guys. There's my logo. I normally have like your name should be across here. We started in such a rush. I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm gonna give you what I give everybody else and put your name on here as we close, Jenniffer.
Oh,
please share anything you want to share. Bilingual Kids Inc., whatever you want to talk about as we close, ways what you want people to pretty much, how you want folks to follow you from here and stay connected.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to follow me, I have a page called Afro Latina Teacher, and that's on Facebook. Okay. And that's pretty much about my life. I share stuff about my life. I share
right now.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then I talk about anything that has to do with African Americans, Blacks, Afro Latinos, anything like that that's not in my regular page. My personal page just has anything that comes out with me, but this page is like anybody that's learning about the Afro Latina Teacher. I do have another group page called Incorporating Afro Latino Culture in Spanish Classrooms, which is for Spanish.
Yeah, I like that. You said a group. I like the group.
Yeah, it's for Spanish teachers, but I have a lot of people who are not Spanish teachers because they like the resources that are put out there. All kinds of stuff. We do some good conversations in there. I do some webinars about unbleaching the curriculum because we've taught Spanish for so long and we've always portrayed the white side of Spanish and never shown the black side. And
unbleached. I like that term.
Unbleached, yeah, unbleached. So I try to show, even when we watch soap operas, I try to point out, hey guys, look, have you ever seen a Latino that looks like this, so light skinned with this blonde hair or this red hair? They do exist, but they're not the only ones. Okay, and I'm not the only one either. So I'm very adamant in my classroom to show the diversity of Español and the diversity of Spanish speakers, because it's just a disservice not to include that. And then you wait for Black History Month. I hate that we wait for Black History Month to include Afro Latinos when they've been around for so long. Why we have to, just like Black Americans? I don't do that. I incorporate it all year round, and I try to teach teachers to incorporate Black history, Afro Latinos all year round, because they're Americans, they're Latino Americans, so they deserve to be incorporated all the time. And even Asian Americans and the Indians, all of those people together.
Everybody should celebrate their culture all year round.
Exactly, because in the telenovelas they portray Black people as slaves or witches. And even though the United States has progressed, we have Black stars everywhere, Will Smith and all these.
I don't know if you noticed it or not, especially when, in the beginning stages of a Black actor's career, they still make them do those kind of stereotypical roles. And then as they go higher, they can exit them. But I get what you're saying.
You're right. Because my sister, as an actress, she says that they keep putting her in roles where she's a maid. And it's like, oh man, come on, Jenny, you gotta get out there.
Not that it's gonna be something, it's
right. But it's out there. It's out there. For Latin America, you don't see, there's a show called Siempre Bruja. Okay, Black star, but she's a witch. Good, kudos to her. But it's like, dang, why can't they have
something else? We're more than it.
Black. It's just so, we've been doing this for so long. We've been here for so long, and it's just ridiculous that we don't have that. And then I have white students, majority white students. I have also from Pakistan and very few Black students, but majority white. And it's like, I don't want my white kids to, grow up and leave the world and see a Black Hispanic and be like, oh, you speak Spanish? I don't want that reaction. Like they do with my husband. My husband speaks Spanish, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's just a smart Black guy. It's like, what? That's so offensive.
I think that's a compliment.
Well, I'm just saying, it's like, you're so smart. What? That's my native. Like, they don't believe that we could be native. They don't believe that a Black person could be a native Spanish speaker. That's my fight.
Better get up this interview. I'm just mad the whole interview. Let's go. Look, Christina Lewis sends her greetings with some hand claps, what you just did, and then 2 black hearts. This, I know I'm about to be mad now, but it just came in my head because you said you have, and we're over the time, so sorry.
Okay. Just keep going. It's good. We're good.
I know I'm about to be mad, but when you said you have all white students, how does that work with your racist students? Do they say, I don't want to learn from you? Like, how bad does this get?
Okay, there's a lot of things I can't mention because I know there's a live show and I have to keep the protection of my job.
I shouldn't be asking you this stuff, should I? Don't worry about it.
But I could tell you this much. I won't know if they're racist because in my classroom, they're the best kids ever. I love my kids, love my students. I give them everything I can give them from myself, of my culture. I teach them. I tell them, look, if you want to know about Black Lives Matter, if you want to know about what's going on, what happened with George Floyd, if you want to have that conversation, I'm here for you. Hey, I'm here because when that happened with George Floyd, I cried like if it was my uncle because it could happen to my dad next. It could happen to my husband. It could happen to my son. Every time my son said, oh, the cop stopped me, I'm like, oh, you're okay? Everything. It's like, why do I have to feel that way? And I shared that with my students and they were like, whoa, we're in a different world. They stay quiet. They stay quiet a lot. They don't want to say, but I open my.
That's good though. At least you know you're receiving it versus somebody to come in there. You know, Trump said build the wall, and I don't care about this. So that's just what I wanted to know how receptive they are.
They don't. To me, they're respectful. I don't know how they are in social media. I don't know how they are outside of me, but I know that to me they're respectful. And they love me. I know they love me. The parents love me. You know, I'm well received and everything. But there's that respect thing. So if I tell them, but I always tell them, hey, do you have questions? And they have. There's been a few that have taken me to the side and asked me those uncomfortable questions. And
that's good. And prayerfully it'll penetrate, even if because I'm sure they can't go home and say what they learned because their family don't want to hear it. But prayerfully they'll carry it into their adulthood.
I try to be very careful with how I speak. I talk about love a lot. It's like, hey, how about your dad? What if that happened to your dad? What if George Floyd was your dad? What if George Floyd was your uncle? And it's like, I make them feel like, okay, what if it's somebody you love that happened to? Would you be making these excuses about, oh, he had drugs or would you be doing that? No, you wouldn't be doing that. So I always come in with carefully, with a lot of wisdom. I have to think first before I talk. I have to have lots of love and receive them like if they're my child. I have to see all my kids as if they're my children. And even kids that I've had online, it's like, they'll ask me those questions and I have to come with a lot of love because they'll come with these hard, uncomfortable conversations that they're asking me, which I already told them, hey, come to me. And then they come to me because I can't be like, let me research. No, I can't do that. I need to know what I'm going to say. And all of it goes back to love. Everything goes back to love. Most people that I talk to, most kids, are either religious or come from a religious background. So I have to go back to what they serve, what they believe in and say, hey, do you think this is acceptable at your church? Even though it could happen at their church.
Exactly.
A lot of church people are very racist. A lot of church people are racist and they don't know it. But I always have to go back. Would you like to be treated this way? Is it fair to be treated? Oh, but that happened a long time ago. Yeah, but some of it still happens now.
It happened yesterday. Okay.
Yeah, yesterday. This morning.
Okay. So look, people need to follow Afro Latina Teacher. People need to join the group. Oh man, it's a long name.
It's a long name. You got to put it somehow. I don't know how. If they follow Afro Latino Teacher, they can find me.
Okay, something about incorporating Afrocentrism in Spanish. Something. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, you can follow me.
And then go on and tell them why they should follow Bilingual Kids Inc. What's that?
Oh, Bilingual Kids Inc. is a nonprofit organization that we started here in Alabama, and it has we have orchestra for people who can't afford to join an orchestra. We have orchestra for them. We do trips. So we take the orchestra to other countries or we schedule them to travel. So we try to cater to kids that don't feel like they can ever leave Alabama because Alabama football is king here. Football is the best thing ever. That's it. It's either Alabama or Auburn. You pick one. And you gotta do one. It's like Democrat and Republic. No, here is Alabama or Auburn. I'm like, I don't know. I like Miami Dolphins. I gotta say stuff like that.
It's on.
But you know, it's like we try to get something for those kids that can't afford going to the symphony orchestra at this university. So we have this program. My husband's a genius at this, so he knows how to play all the instruments. He knows how to pull out the best in these kids. So we have concerts and we travel with them. We also teach Spanish, we teach English, and I teach heritage speakers. Like we have a lot of Mexicans in our area that don't really know how to write in Spanish. Like they know Spanish, but they never finished school. So I have to go back and teach them how to read and teach them how to write. So bilingual kids is one of those that we also want to open. We had a daycare and that was part of it too. So my daycare used to be bilingual. So everybody who joined my daycare ended up bilingual, even though the kids grew up and left me. And you know, I should have had to develop a program where they go from my school to a bilingual school, but no, I didn't have all the money to do that. So it started with them being bilingual and the parents saying, "What's she saying? I'm trying to give her medicine. She say leche." I'm like, "You want her milk, lady?" No, I didn't talk to them like that.
But you know, I need to talk and learn from you, Jenniffer, because that's a goal for Tasha Teaching Spanish, that we bring the state's first bilingual, like full school, like K through 12. But step one may have to be a bilingual school, and it's a bilingual daycare, excuse me. So it's a couple of those already, but I definitely need to talk to you there to learn about those beginning stages there. But okay, let's stop because this is going. We could talk all night, Jenniffer. We could talk all night. So, and really I don't know how to do this. So, guys, if you're listening, I thank you for still being on here. There's one person on here. There's 3 people on here. Thank you.
Thank you for being on here.
Let's just go on and wrap up your introduction. So, I'm not even going to like have them guess it. Nothing. Okay, look, you're from the Dominican Republic. You have several jobs, but you are a Zumba instructor, you pastor a church, and you're a Spanish teacher. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Okay. And then you're a mom of 5, and you know, some adopted, some foster, and you're a foster parent. Ooh. Yeah. Then surprisingly, you have time left over. And you like to, don't tell me, travel. The biggest thing for you all is in the summertime when there's no schools to travel. You do mission trips, but you like to, aside from the mission trip, view and explore the country. You already mentioned your family, you mentioned your sister. It's famous, y'all. I just Googled her earlier. Something Saldana, Jenny. What is it?
Saldana, yeah. She's a comedian too.
So you all like have pretty much the same name, Jenny and Jenniffer? That's it?
Yeah, my mom is Jane. My mom, they call her Jenny. My dad used to say, "Las tres Jenny."
That's it. Eso es. You got it. Okay. Famous sister, mom and dad came here from the DR to give them a better life. They're in Miami, right? Yeah, okay, yeah. And then your favorite song is La Gozadora.
Gozadera. La Gozadera.
By Gente Lezona. Gente Lezona and Mark Anthony. And your favorite singer pretty much is the same group. Well, you said Don Omar, but Gente Lezona generally. And you love reggaeton.
Yeah. And I have other artists I just can't remember right now. It's so many. I just love music, so.
Okay, we're going to stop here, y'all. Okay. This has been great, Jenniffer. I appreciate you. Bless you. And thank y'all for watching. This was great. Even though I probably was the most upset.
You was mad the whole time.
But it's okay. Because this is good for everybody else. Like, that's the whole point. That's why we do this, for other people to grow. You know, and hear it. Because, like I said, your experience is different. It's different. You know, most of the people on the show are African-American or melanated, and we learn Spanish. You're coming from the perspective of how you experienced racism, like from everybody. Like it was such a deep way to go. So I'm so glad. Kamoy wants you to know she's getting some beet juice tomorrow.
Girl, get it.
And you do all these things with so much energy. Amen. Amen, Kamoy.
I love my energy. I appreciate it. It's not now at this time. It's kind of late. I start winding down, and I'm a kind of person. I need 12 hours sleep. I only get 5, so I do need more sleep. I do need. Yeah, I can sleep 12 hours.
What's that expression? No me aguanto. Like I can't take it. I can't do it. I forget it. No me aguanto. Something. No, I couldn't do it. No me. Let me get off here. Good night. Buenas noches. Besos. Que Dios te bendiga. Todo eso. Okay. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody.
Bye.